Good morning, ladies. So it's Saturday morning. We are finishing up our last 2 days of this week. And this week was focused on allowing. So first was bringing attention, bringing awareness, noticing our thoughts, how we're feeling, our body. And this second week has been about allowing. So allowing, not trying to block out or get mad at ourselves for thoughts. So just noticing what we're feeling, noticing what we're thinking, and then giving it that space, that breath or two, so we can remember the 90 seconds we had talked out, instead of getting caught up in the loops. So that the loops was when we're more closed off. We pull in, replaying things, getting more mad, getting stuck in that internal space. So what I want to talk about today, I find super interesting, and I found it really eye-opening when I came across this. So it pulls from three of my favorite people to listen to: Brené Brown, Michael Singer, and Tara Brach. Now, Michael Singer talks a lot about how we have two environments, two worlds we live in. We live in this external world, so what's happening around us, our jobs, our day-to-day life, all these things that we are experiencing outside of us. And the second world is the internal world. So it's the way we're responding to what's happening around us. It's our reactions, our emotions, our thoughts, all the stuff going on inside. And that's what I had hoped this course would do, help us start to examine, get a little more curious about what's going on inside. Because the reality is, we can't control what's going on in this external environment. This world is spinning around for billions of years. We can't control the weather. We can't control what other people do or say, or what they don't do or don't say. The way things unfold in our day, the difficulties that may arise. So there's a lot that is out of our hands in terms of this external environment. What we end up doing is wanting to control things or make things a certain way, make them stay exactly how we want them so that we feel a certain way. So what Michael Singer talks about is, why does it not make more sense to look internally and see what are my reactions to things that are happening externally, and can I look in more to create a more happy space instead of trying to make things a certain way outside of me to make me feel a certain way. I find that super eye-opening because it completely makes sense. If you just think about, imagine you were only happy if the weather was a certain way. So if the weather was a certain temperature, the wind was a gentle breeze, and the sun was shining, that's the only time that you felt, okay, I can be more open. So that non-pulling in resistance loop where you're angry, feeling something, you're just more open to what's happening, feeling a bit more happy when weather's a certain way. So you wake up in the morning, the weather is cloudy. You're instantly pulled in. So I like to think of it as a resistance. When we're kind of upset about the way things are, they're not how we want them to be, we get in that loop. Or even if we don't, we pull back, we're a little bit more angry and upset or withdrawn. So I'll just use the word resistance. So the clouds are out, we feel resistance, we're kind of pulled back. We're a little bit more moody to our people around us because the weather isn't how we wanted it to be. And then later in the day, the sun comes out, the weather's exactly how we like it. Okay, now I can feel happy, now I can feel more open because the weather is how I want it. But then a cloud comes through and then we pull back again. Now I'm upset again, or now I'm just in that state of resistance more. Does that not sound ridiculous? It does when you really think about it. We can't control what's happening. So can we learn to stay open more and just let the weather do its thing and not let it pull us into this state where we're only happy or we're only open when things are exactly how we want them for the weather? But we actually do this all the time on day-to-day life. It's a lot harder to see, but just think, I'll give you a couple examples. So you're driving to work in the morning, you wake up feeling good, and the little things that play out in your day. So you're driving to work in the morning, the person in front of you is driving really slow. And this tends to be a trigger for a lot of people. Road rage, people driving a different way on the road. So someone's driving slow in front of you, not even that you're late for work, it's just frustrating you. You start to get into that state of resistance, I'll call it, where you're, oh, why is this person doing that? This person doesn't even know how to drive. Getting in internal environment is getting disturbed because of the way someone else is driving. That provides no benefit for you, as you can see when you think about it from this state. right? So you getting disturbed internally, something happening, you're feeling something, it's triggering thoughts, it's triggering more, provides no benefit for you. It's not going to change the way they're driving, and it's just ruining your moment, your time, getting sucked into something that you can't change anyway. And then imagine you arrive to work, and because you're still in that state, you're frantically getting out, and then you leave something in your car. Then you're more mad, or you get your coat stuck in the door, right? Because you're in this inner disturbed state inside. You get into work and sit down, and let's say you dealt with it differently. Let's say you were in the car, person's driving slow, you acknowledge, wow, this actually is triggering me to feel really frustrated. Can I feel frustrated? Take a breath and open. So I physically feel it like the resistance or the inner disturbance is kind of this pullback. Can I notice that and just open out to it a bit more? So any of the techniques we've done, body scan, a few deep breaths, that Brahmari breath, and noting, labeling, so you're not trying to downplay your emotions. You can notice, I feel frustrated by this, I feel angry by this. That's okay. But don't hold on to it and let it take away more of your day. So then let's say you get to work, you're sitting there, and your coworker usually comes by every morning and says hi, but she just walked straight by your desk today. Well, then inner disturbance happens, right? It could be, why did she just walk right by me? Is she mad at me because I asked her to help on the project yesterday? So you start getting into that. Then maybe it's getting mad, blaming out. Well, as if she should be mad at me. I helped her 2 weeks ago on that. Why is she angry at me? And then maybe blaming out at someone else. Well, if my boss didn't make me try to get it done in 3 hours, I wouldn't have had to ask for help. So you're getting into this whole pulled back internal world disturbance, loops going on, anger, whatever, different emotions. And then it might even turn in on yourself. Well, why did you ask your boss for more work when you couldn't handle it? Why do you always do this? You take on more than you can. So you can see how one thing, a person walking by you and not saying hi, has created a complete inner disturbance inside of you. It's like there's billions of people in the world, and because one person walked by and didn't say hi when they normally do, you've now lost maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes of your day to an inner disturbance playing out. And then imagine your husband calls you during that state and says, where's my sunglasses? What's your response? I don't know where your sunglasses are. Why are you always asking me that? So you're a lot more likely to lash out when you're dealing with inner disturbances inside of you. And you don't even really realize you're doing it. So you may not know that's why you're doing that, but you're in that state internally. Now, let's say she walked by and you did some of these practices. So, oh, that made me feel a bit self-conscious. I'm not sure why she did. Can I take a breath and sit with that? Or that made me feel a bit frustrated or angry. Can I take a few breaths and sit with that? Then your husband calls, you're much more likely to not lash out on someone else or something else. And you're able to get out of that inner disturbance faster if you just acknowledge it and sit with it for a bit. Now, let's say you go home after that, after you get home from work and your partner didn't empty the dishwasher. So you're triggered, you're in an inner disturbance about you always doing everything, or why you ask them to, why aren't they not paying attention, whatever it is. It starts to go on, right? Your inner environment is disturbed. And then your child spills their glass of milk. How are you going to respond? If you were in a more open, clear state and they spilled their glass, I guarantee you're going to respond a lot differently than when you're in an inner disturbance going on at that time. So that's when you may yell a bit more or get frustrated, or why do you always do that? Or I told you to watch where you're putting your milk. Versus if you had let's say the dishwasher thing. Okay, I'm feeling frustrated. I'll do this all the time. I'm feeling frustrated that he didn't do blah, blah, blah. It makes me feel a bit unsupported that I'm doing more. Like really labeling it and telling yourself what you're feeling. It lets you open up a bit more and lets whatever it is play out instead of getting stuck in it. And then whatever happens around you, it's like Michael Singer calls them these inner thorns. So you have these thorns and then something else happens and you're reacting a certain way, or you're pushing it down. Everything's fine, I'm all good. No, it's okay, smile, smile. And then it's just like a explosion later when one little thing triggers you off. So dealing with the things as they happen, and it's really simple little things if you start to get into the practice of getting curious. What are my triggers? What are my patterns of or these inner thorns, the inner disturbances, things that tend to send me into a bit, and not doing it to be hard on ourselves. We all do this. I've been practicing this for a long time, and I guarantee, I know I still do it and that I'm not aware of it. But I find it interesting to be curious about it. So what can I still keep on working on so that I'm more in this open state? And that's what Tara Brach talks about. It's not that you are, okay, people can do whatever. So he doesn't have to do the dishwasher ever. Someone could walk by and be rude to me and I'm not going to get mad about it. No, or I'm not going to respond to it. That's not it at all. It's you're far better able to address a situation, a difficulty, when you're in that open, clear state than when you're closed off and you're in your loop and you're more in the lash out, blame, or get hard on yourself, whatever it is for you, right? You can see from those examples, where's my glasses, the lash out, or child spills the milk, versus being able to respond. So that's the difference of reacting versus responding. Responding would be when I'm in, okay, I'm feeling that, open, and then maybe I go have a discussion with my husband when the kids are in bed. Hey, it really bothered me that you didn't, or depends on the language you want to use. You know, I felt a bit frustrated when you didn't open the dishwasher just because I had a lot. I felt overwhelmed, right? That's going to go over a lot better than, why didn't you do this? Or then he asks you something, could you pass me that? Like, like even if we think we're not addressing it, our eye rolls, our huff, our puff with our children, our spouses, our whoever, or we're doing it internally to ourselves. So it might depend. Other people, it's everything's fine, but then internally stuff's going down, and then you're either being hard on yourself or you're going to just let it out in another way. So I hope this makes somewhat sense to you. Please feel free to write questions or write me personally if you're not sure what I mean, or if you have any questions about it, because I find it's super eye-opening for me when I started to really look at that internal environment and how can I work on not trying to, or not making it that I can only be okay and open and happy if things are a certain way, but letting things happen, deal with them as they are, and trying to remain more open in that calm center state to be able to respond instead of react. So your practice for the rest of today and tomorrow, try to keep up with your meditation because that strengthens your ability. It's sort of like a toolbox. You're giving yourself more tools to lean on. If you have a mantra you like, let go. If you have the alternate nostril breath, the body scan, the more you do that, you're giving yourself more tools to deal with when the even more challenging situations arise. So you do have a very difficult situation at work that you have to address, and you can address it from that calm, more open space because you've practiced this a lot more instead of being caught up. We all know those people who are just, you don't want to push you may push a little button and it might, right? So we don't want to give ourselves as many tools as we can, get curious about what's going on inside. So sorry, got sidetracked. So your practice is to do a bit more meditation, and it could be do a body scan, alternate nostril, the Brahmari breath, mantra, any meditation that you want, the senses, noticing. Do that a few times today and tomorrow. So say once today, once tomorrow, a few minutes, but also start to write down or at least note, acknowledge when you're getting in a bit of resistance. So when something on the external world creates a bit of a disturbance inside, and when I'm feeling that disturbance, can I open into it? Can I take a few breaths and let it do its thing through? It might come up again, but try not to let that inner disturbance carry out to play out into that domino effect of other things in your life, or take away from a beautiful moment that you could have had in front of you, right? So if you had watched the Brené Brown video, she talks about how numbing out could be avoiding being too busy, so busy that I don't have time to look in, drugs, alcohol, all, like what did she say, we're the most overweight, over medicated, a few other things, cohort in history. So there's all these ways to avoid looking in at what's disturbing us and trying to manipulate the external. So if I get so busy I don't have to, or if I drink more I don't have to, like whatever it might be. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So I want you to just start to notice and allow the things we've been practicing, noticing when you're having the inner resistance, and we are going to get into a new week. next Monday, and it's going to be on self-compassion and self-kindness, which is really really great to play off of this. So then can I work on creating a more positive relationship, a more supportive relationship with myself? So I hope you have a lovely day. It's beautiful. Oh, that's what I was going to say. You can't numb out or try to avoid just the unpleasant emotions. So if you don't like feeling worried, you don't like feeling vulnerable, you don't like feeling like whatever the emotions you want to avoid, you actually end up numbing out all of them. So you dim your light on this opportunity to feel greater joy, greater happiness, greater love in these simple moments. So if you were caught up in that loop about the dishwasher, and then you may have been so caught up in that, you missed a moment where you saw your pet doing something, your daughter petting your pet, or a bird flying. Like, there's these simple moments of being able to find joy. But if we're stuck in our resistance, in our inner disturbances, we miss that. Okay, I will end here. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.